Our next speaker is acclaimed designer, brand guru, and city refresher, Melissa Price. And Melissa Price attended WorkTech last year, and I missed her. And a friend of mine told me that this was the woman that everybody needs to talk to about brand. And so I've been to her website, and I've actually tried to coordinate an event with her. She works in Detroit, which, yay, Detroit, yeah. And Detroit, yeah. Well,
I was going to try to convince you to love it.
she has some sort of urban acreage there, I think. And anyway, Detroit, as you might know, was a big piece of the Metropolitan Revolution, which is a Brookings Institution book about what cities can do and how cities can revive economies. And so Melissa's going to talk a little bit about her role, both with Quicken and with the city of Detroit. Melissa.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Am I officially live?
Yes.
All right, I know we're in a little bit of a loud space, but let me ask you this question really quickly before I even kick this presentation off. We have had countless number of presenters up here today that have talked about variety of work environments, and yet, may I comment on the chairs we sat in all day? Come on, we are like our own clients. We have to do a better job. So we have to provide each other, ourselves, more variety, better back support, better comfort. I'm a huge fan of the embodied chair. Herman Miller knows that, mad love for it. So I'm just going to challenge for future work techs, if we're going to stand up here, encourage different postures, different environments, we should eat our own dog food. I also recognize that I stand in your way of getting to the beer and wine, so I'm going to make this quick. We're standing up here today, and you're listening to presenter after presenter, and you're trying to gain a little bit of knowledge on what you can bring back to your business and to your clients about how to attract the best possible talent, how to retain it, how to attract the best companies, how to create a space, be inspired. What do they want? What do they need? Who are they? How do we go after them, right? Well, I'm going to give you the answer. Are you ready? It's the key. Everybody got your pen? Come on, get them out. The first activity of the day, it's official. Your pen can be an electronic device. I'm okay with that. I want you to write this down. 3, 1, 3. I'm not done. 3, 7, 3. 7, 5, 2, 1. That is this man's number. You can contact Dan Mullen, who's responsible for real estate as part of our family of company, and you can move your next office or open your next office in Detroit. And many of you are thinking, Detroit, why would I choose Detroit? Because what you know about Detroit is probably something more like this. We have over 84,000 lots and structures that are in need of intervention. 84,000. We occupy 138 square miles. To give you some kind of context of what size that is Boston, Manhattan, and San Francisco combined in a single square miles, if you portion it out. So some of you might recognize this image, or you might recognize this because this is in San Francisco. This is not mine, this is yours. But you'll recognize this. There's a gentleman who founded Wired magazine, co-founded, I believe, and it is his statement last week that I heard him present where he said, make a place people want to come to work, give them a big, gnarly problem to solve. The attraction to San Francisco is obvious. Your big, gnarly problem is technology problems and opportunity, right? Everyone is trying to attract that brilliant mind because you have the next opportunity as it relates to technology, the next invention, the next, you're trying to compete on space. But I would argue that the space is only part of it. So, 22,000 applicants applied for 1,000 internships in Detroit last summer. 22,000. We had to turn away 21,000 applicants at Quicken Loans for students, graduates, recent graduates, postgraduates, all kinds of really awesome, really smart people. We only were able to take 1,000 of them. So if you're trying to attract talent, you may want to consider Detroit because we have some extra applicants. We can send you some resumes. Part of the opportunity, right, is how do we create space and why are we attracting this talent and what is going on? Well, we have a big gnarly problem to solve and Detroit is it. I have equal amount of space that looks just like your space here in San Francisco. Herman Miller used one of my slides earlier from one of my cool spaces, actually. This is my headquarters office. This is where we meet, hang out, have fun, present. That's a mustache chair. You can get that. It's kind of fun. Reclaimed wood from Detroit. All the same. You recognize this image. Rideable surfaces, cafes, all the normal things you talk about, right? Comfortable chairs, hangout, call center environment, low cube walls, bright colors, rideable surfaces. I have a bank vault, which is kind of cool. We have play areas, hangout areas. We have, this is actually the Fed Reserve, so this image is from the basement of the Detroit Federal Reserve. And this is a back-of-house function that is fulfillment. So this is a group of people who literally are responsible for packaging up your mortgages and sending them out to you. And this is the type of space we create for them. So as far as space goes, and creativity, and color, and brightness, and fun, we have it. So then the question becomes, what makes it different? Why are we attracting this talent to Detroit? And it's the opportunity of the city. If I were here in San Francisco, I would probably not be working at any one of the major design firms. Mostly because I have no technical skill in design whatsoever. For those of you that don't know, I have absolutely no background in it. I am a director of facilities by trade. I came about it because the guy before me, every time he bought a chair, he put money in his pocket and they said, she can't screw it up worse than he did. And I haven't. But I've been able to build out over almost 2 million square feet of space and do so with a facilities mindset and do so making sure that we're attracting great talent. And we're attracting great talent because I'm listening to what they say, what they want, and I'm doing it and installing it and building it and adding it on or whatever they want. We were in New York at Worktech, and there was a lot of conversation about those millennials, right? Some of my team was millennials in the room, and they're like, why don't they just ask me what I want, right? I've got a big neighbor right around the corner from our building, and they said, Melissa, we want to come to your offices, and we want to tour because we're going to do what, we believe the office will look like in 2020, and we think your office is what it'll look like. And I was like, no, this is what my office looks like today. 2020 is going to be amazing, right? So there's got to be more to it besides just designing cool spaces. And you guys know that because you're sitting in this room and you're trying to figure it out and you're trying to attract it. This is Detroit. This is Detroit. This is Detroit. This is Detroit. You don't often see these images because they're, not the popular one because they're pretty positive. I always call it the easy button to present on the, decay of space. But when you look at the volume of space of what we have, you look at your own city and what you have, they're probably pretty comparable. Go ahead, run this slide. Turn him up. He's got really profound things to say.
Town used to be a really desolate, abandoned-looking place. And now you've got all this new development going on down there. And that's the hub of the city, is downtown. Attitudes are changing, and we're moving forward. And now that we've improved that, it's just gonna expand. I didn't do this. We did this. It's something we built. We as a collective built this. And then Detroit as a collective helped build this.
So it gives you a little bit of an idea about the culture of what's going on in Detroit. A small little company you guys might have heard of, Apple, they ran that commercial. We did not, so just so you know where they got it. One of the things that I think is really powerful about what we're doing here in Detroit right now, and something I've recently heard as well, and it really resonated with me and in my soul. And I think what has to be really powerful about the work that you do and why you're compelled to do it is that you're trying to build something that you can connect to, that you support, and that you believe in. And so we are building a city. And it's not I'm building a city. There's brilliant architects. There's brilliant craftsmen. There's brilliant trades who have put up with me and all of my orneriness over the years, who are rebuilding this city. And I think what is so important about it is what we found is that there's an object that's there. I can literally stand in the middle of Campus Martius and I can say, I've had an impact on that building. I've brought that building back to life. You know, I've had families tour the vaults because they remember when their father used to work at the vaults and they wanted to take pictures in the old bank vaults and bring it back. And there's a history there and there's something to connect to and be human with in our city. And I think it's really, really powerful that it's drawing so many people to it, because with as many advancements as we have in technology, which are brilliant, by the way, I love my tech all day long, love my tech. I think there's also this layer of humanity that we want to connect to and that we're all looking for, and I think Detroit offers that. So I'm not designing Detroit, we are designing Detroit. There it is.
Okay.
Any questions? Do we have time for questions?
Yes, we have time for questions. There's Kevin with the mic.
What impact is Shinola having on the image of Detroit?
Certainly a positive one. I don't think as many people think of shit and Shinola when they hear Shinola anymore. Shinola is a great brand. It's a great community presence. They're doing a lot of really great things, whether it's large branding with positive messaging, building retail, my handbags from their store. You know, they're great. I mean, they're fantastic. One of the things that's so great about them, too, is they're partnering with CCS, which is a Detroit college, that College for Creative Studies, and that they are using students to help with the design work, both of their office space as well as their watches. They're creating jobs, which is fantastic, and their retail presence is growing, as well as their community involvement and engagement, where they're installing large Shinola clocks around the city, which is a place-making activation opportunity. So they've been fantastic.
Any other questions? Has there been another major tenant that has moved in, I mean, a big one, because of the advantages that you've seen in downtown?
Sure. So the Central Business District right now has the highest occupancy it's ever had. Chrysler moved downtown after being out in the suburbs for a very long time, still very much out in the suburbs, but they've now moved an office. Sergio's got an office above mine in our building. I mean, it's kind of a big deal, right?
Yeah, that's a big deal.
So, yeah, we have lots of great brands, both big and small, that are moving to Detroit. Most of the buildings in which we occupy were completely filled up. And brands that have been out in our suburbs have now moved back. And mostly because of the activation. When they're downtown, they want to be a part of it, everything that's going on. So our community spaces are becoming much more engaged as well. And I showed you, like, I don't know, 10 milliseconds of slides of what's going on in Detroit as far as those opportunities go.
Other questions? Okay, I don't think it's the presentation. I think it's timing. It's all the timing. So let's thank Melissa very much for talking to us a little bit about Detroit.